Nigeria is considering major constitutional changes at the National Public Hearing. One proposal dominated the conversation, a bill to create reserved seats for women in parliament. Women occupy around 64 parliament seats in Nigeria. That's about 4% of a possible 1,460 seats across the country. Well, some women are trying to change that narrative. They're proposing the reserved seats for women bill, which seeks the creation of additional seats exclusively for women in both the National Assembly and the state houses of assembly across the nation.
You go around the world, there is more female representation all around. I do not want Nigeria to be left behind when it comes to women representation. And the fact that the bill has already passed second reading shows that it has really satisfied all the foundational groundwork and regulations that are needed for this bill to pass.
Not supporting that bill today will be a very dangerous political risk. Yes, the level of mobilization that has been done by the women across the country, across the various constituencies, I think it is something that every good politician wants to support at this point in time, especially that elections are very close. Again, if you look at it, the importance of the reserve seat bill, we have it in other countries. They are doing very well. We also want to have it in Nigeria to allow women more participation in governance.
I'm now joined by one of the women leading the push for these special seats, Osasu Igbinedion Ogwuche, who is the convener of the Reserved Seats for Women Bill Coalition. Glad to have you join me, Osasu.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, wonderful. This has re-emerged again, the Women's Bill, as a critical point for national debate. The question is, why this re-emergence? Why especially now? What will that add to, or how will that improve our democracy? Why is it even necessary?
Thank you. Brilliant question. As you said in your remarks, in the 8th Assembly, we had the Gender and Equal Opportunities Bill, which was posed by Senator Biodun Olujimi and also backed by the leadership of the Senate at the time, Bukola Saraki. It failed, unfortunately, because of the lack of awareness and sensitization on the intricacies of the bill. In the 9th Assembly, the bill was proposed again, but this time around, it had 5 gender bills lumped together. Fortunately and unfortunately, it was supported by the leadership of the House of Representatives at the time, and it had the backing of the Deputy Chief Whip, Honorable Nkirika at the time, who was the lead sponsor, and the co-sponsor was the Speaker, Right Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila, who is now the Chief of Staff to the President. The feedback that we got from the 9th Assembly was that we were asking for too much too soon, because we were asking for the passage of 5 gender bills. That was number 1. Number 2, we were accused of not doing enough advocacy, one-on-one lobbying with the lawmakers. So in the 10th Assembly, under the leadership of the Right Honorable Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Right Honorable Benjamin Kalu, PhD CFR, he proposed the reserved seats for women's bill, now looking to add 37 additional seats to the Senate, which is reflective of 1 seat per state and the FCT, and 37 additional seats to the House of Representatives as well, reflective of 1 seat per state and the FCT, making 74 additional seats for women to contest in the National Assembly. At the subnational level, across the 36 states of assemblies, we're looking to add 108 additional seats. So that's 3 seats per state assembly on the subnational level, giving you a total of 108 plus 74, 182 additional seats for women to contest. You asked a very pertinent question. Why is this important? Why is this necessary? Women make up 50% of Nigeria's population, but we are assumed less than 4% of seats in the National Assembly. Out of 360 members in the House of Representatives, only 14 are women. In the Senate, out of 109 senators, only 4 are women. Across the 36 state houses of assemblies, we have 993 members, only 51 are women. 26 out of 36 states do not have any women in parliament. As a matter of fact, a running joke, which is not too funny, is that in Jigawa State House of Assembly, the chairperson of the Women Affairs Committee is a man. And I'm guessing it's the same
chairperson
of the Women Affairs Committee is a man, right? So these are the reasons. And we are not emotional in asking for reserve seats for women because we know that the barriers to entry in politics...
because somebody talked about women and emotion, that they're being emotional.
No, we're not. It's not emotional. Data, facts, statistics show that when women legislate, when women are involved in decision making, we see better governance. We see the dividends of our democracy trickle down to the poorest of the poor in our communities. We see better communities. We see better markets. We see better healthcare systems. We see stronger economies. The World Bank ran research that shows that $229 billion can be added into our gross domestic GDP in 10 years if women are involved in decision making, if women are involved in the economy. So hey, if we are leading in the banking sector, if we're leading in finance, if we're leading in tech, leading in agriculture, why not politics? Why not where the decisions of the greater...
in those areas?
Of course we are. Look at all the heads of the major banks in Nigeria. Who are they? Look at Zenith. Look at Fidelity. Look at Access. All these banks have major roles where women are playing critical and taking critical decisions that are moving our economy forward. So why not politics?
All right. Well, I've heard women say, whatever a man can do, women too can do. And he said that power is never given to you, like they said, a la carte. And here you are crying that there's a deep-rooted imbalance in our political landscape that needs legislative intervention. I am wondering whether there's a disconnect because you're crying for imbalance and you say what a man can do, women can do as well.
That's
so
why
I'm thinking, is there a disconnect here?
Of course not. That's why I said the system is already rigged against women. It's structural, it's financial, it's cultural, it's religious, and guess what? It's even legal. Here's the thing in Nigeria. Women who have the appetite for politics, they register for a political party. The intra-party politics for them to get the ticket for whatever seats they're campaigning for, whether that's senatorial, gubernatorial, House of Representatives, immediately they start to vie. They're already rigged out by the money bags, that's the financial, the cultural, hey, what are you doing? You're a woman. Where's your husband? Where are your children? What are you doing here? What are you doing in this meeting late at night? It's religious. They'll tell you as a Christian woman, it is uncanny of you to be, out at this late night or to be having meetings with this men, at this time of the day. So there are so many things or so many reasons people pose as justifiable excuses based on, these religious, cultural, social norms that, hinder women from vying successfully. That's why we're saying, as has been done in Rwanda, has been done in Kenya, has been done in Senegal, we need a level playing field for women to be able to contest. So can we have these reserve seats that would not even bring up women's participation to up to 15%? Remember, the global affirmative action is 35%. So if, or I should say when, this reserve seats for women's bill becomes law, and we have 182 additional seats, which will be the barest minimum of women who are participating at the national and subnational level in parliament, the participation will still be at, a meager 15%.
Low level.
Low level. So we're not asking for much. We're just asking for a level playing field so we can shore up these numbers, and Nigeria can be better for it.
So would you say this is like a handout?
Of course not. It's not tokenism. Women are looking to contest. It's not appointive.
Okay.
Women will be contesting amongst each other. So you have women from the APC, you have women from APGA, PDP, all the different political parties contesting for these reserve seats.
That's why they're called exclusively for women.
Exactly.
Now the argument is this, because I just learned that aside having these exclusively reserved seats, where women alone will contest amongst themselves, you can also contest with men, is that it?
Of course.
But that's like eating your cake and having it.
Of course not. I told you already, the numbers are very poor. We have a very abysmal representation of women in parliament.
So you can go on and contest with me, for example, if I'm a politician, which I don't want to be.
Exactly.
And then you also have your reserved seats that women alone will contest.
Let's run the math. Women are competing with men right now. Correct?
Yes.
Okay. In the Senate, we have 4 women This is a general competition.
In the 109, yeah.
Out of 109. In the House of Representatives, we have 14.
Oh, 14.
Out of 360. So even if women still contest the traditional seats against men, we are not confident that the outcome of those elections are going to be favorable to women, and it will shore up our numbers. Rwanda, we use that as a prime example because this is a country that was plagued by genocide.
Let me even raise that issue. Women constituted 63.8% of the Rwandan parliament, lower or single house. Now, this makes it the country with the highest share of women in parliament worldwide. Interesting. The question is this possible in our climb? What encouraged this? I mean, because you need to study these things to find out how you pursue. Yeah, and so are you drawing from that experience?
We definitely are. As I said earlier, Rwanda went through genocide, the worst kind of crisis any nation should be bewildered with.
The Hutu-Tutsi thing.
The Hutu against the Tutsis, the children that were killed, the pregnant women who were chopped open. Really gory things happened in Rwanda. And President Kagame, in his wisdom, figured that who are the best peacekeepers and peace builders in our nation? All fingers pointed to the women. So when women got involved in parliament, they started to legislate for equitable distribution of food, security, aid that benefited all Rwandan citizens, irrespective of their tribe. As a matter of fact, if you go to Rwanda today, you are not allowed to ask, are you
Hutu or Tutsi? That was removed from, you can't even fill it in a form. It was removed, yeah.
Completely, right? So now there's a sense of national cohesion. There's a sense of togetherness. There's a sense of we are one people, right? And this is what women bring to the table. And that is just one aspect. Here in Nigeria, we can replicate a semblance of this by involving our women. Because even if you look at the humanitarian crisis Nigeria is plagued with today, our children are suffering from acute malnutrition. Our women are suffering from maternal and infant mortality. When women are on the decision-making table, they can empathize with this situation because they know what it feels like to be pregnant. They know what it feels like to see a child that is not receiving adequate nutrition, right? And is on the verge of dying. They know, they feel, right? And they can empathize and legislate with empathy and actually move the country forward in the right direction. So we are not, again, asking for this out of emotion, but we know that this is what is best for Nigeria. With a population of over 220 million people, by 2050 we would be have the largest youth population in the entire world. We need to set Nigeria on the right trajectory. And as I like to say, we cannot clap with just one hand. We need 50% of our population to come. We need to fly with both wings. We need women on the table because the world is a global village. We need to start thinking creatively, and we must do that with the best and the brightest minds that we have in our nation. And you cannot exclude 50% of your population and expect to have the best crop, legislating, making decisions that will advance your nation. So this is the case for reserved seats for women. It's not tokenism. It's not a handout. It's not a favor to women. It's for the betterment of Nigeria, socially, economically, politically, and all around. So this is why this bill is very important. And I love what the Honorable said in the soundbite before you came to the program. He said the momentum is real. I was at the national public hearing earlier today.
He actually said he'll be taking a risk, not fronting for women. I don't know why he said that.
Yes, he said that because they feel the momentum, they feel the movement. It's no longer a campaign. From the grassroots all the way to the national, we had our ward leaders, our local government leaders, our state leaders, our national leaders, all clamoring for the passage of the reserved seats for women's bill. He knows because he's heard from his constituents. They are calling his phone. All 469 parliamentarians, when they go back to visit their constituency, they are being reminded that there is an important bill on the floor of the National Assembly, HB 1349, which is asking you to shore up the numbers of women, and SB 440. Which is asking you to shore up the numbers of women who are involved in politics. And we want you to do that. because we want to see a reflection of ourselves in Parliament. A young girl asked me the other day, she said, Auntie Osasu, I want to be a senator, but I don't really believe my dreams will be valid because I don't see people who look like me there. They're very few. So I had to remind her that her dreams are valid. In Nigeria, she can strive to be a politician, and she will be treated with dignity, she'll be treated with respect. Her thoughts, her words, her voice, her wisdom is needed in the advancement of this nation, and she needs to be able to have a level playing field when she does decide to vie, right? She shouldn't be chased out by the money bags. She shouldn't be chased out by cultural and social stereotypes. She shouldn't be chased out by religious leaders. And this is why the reserved seats for women's bill is very important.
Now, you're starting with Parliament, because I have here, we've not had a single female governor ever in Nigeria.
Elected female governor.
Elected. So how can we or you or the women change even this narrative, or you just want to begin from the Parliament and maybe graduate upwards?
You know, the last time they said we were asking for too much. So now we're starting with the Parliament. Just pass this bill first. Once we get in there, then we can have further discussions. Once you see that you've brought women to the table, you've allowed us bring the brilliance, the energy, all the positive things that we come with, you know, then we can negotiate for more. But for right now, we're asking past the reserve seats for women's bill.
Let's start here.
Yes,
and
not
put too many things in the pot.
I would love to see a female governor. I think, you know, in my lifetime, I think I'll be honored to see that. And I think it can happen, but when this quota system that we're asking for, I think we'll start with the reserve seats for women's bill first, then, you know, maybe we can move to other things. And we may not need, you know, any quota system in the executive arm of government, because remember, the reserve seats for women's bill is actually a sunset clause. It lasts for 4 election cycles.
16 years.
16 years. So after review of these 16 years, we'll come back to the table and say, hey, we're good now.
Did we do good? Can we take it further?
We've done well, and the structure, the polity, everything is now working in our favor for us to compete fairly, equitably, you know, and ensure that when we actually do come out, we are on the same level playing field as our male counterparts.
Yeah, you talked about the things that are militating against achieving this and what you're doing. But what should society be doing, as well as the government? What more should it be doing at this juncture to help this cause?
I would love to commend the leadership of the 10th National Assembly, the Senate President, the Deputy Senate President, the Speaker, the Deputy Speaker, for all championing this cause. These are people that we have met with as a women's group, and they have all thrown their weight behind the reserve seats for women's bill, including all principal officers as well. So it's very encouraging to us. The First Lady of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, has also thrown her weight behind the bill. The mother of the nation. The president, there are permutations that he is also in support of this bill, which is amazing. We would love them to come and vocally reiterate their support to the Nigerian people and to the parliamentarians, because they hold their words in very high esteem. So we would love all arms of government to start calling the 469 members of the National Assembly in both the Senate and in the House of Representatives, and to Nigerians at large, call your lawmakers, remind them, remind them that you voted them into power, and this is a piece of legislation whose time has come, and you would love to see them vote in support and in line with the mandate that you have given to them.
An idea whose time has come. Right, we'll leave it there. Osasu Igbinedion Ogwuche, the best in your cause, and we hope that you get what you're desiring.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Well, that's it for this edition of Arise Prime Time. To join us again tomorrow from me and the entire team here in Abuja. Goodbye, and thank you for watching.